Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, so we've got initial jobless claims coming up here real quick, but a couple of weird things going on in the market. I just want to point out, I don't know if we really have time to go into the charts too much, but you see here on our treasury chart, you know, we had a pretty good rise yesterday. The auction did really, really good. And then on the open, they pushed it back down on the open. Very unusual to see it move that much and so forth on the overnight shift. I don't know what's going on there, but that one's kind of weird to me. I'm a little on edge because of that. I'm also not feeling super great. I got like really weird heartburn. I'm tired because my workouts this week have been really intense. But we got initial jobless claims coming up here. That's a pretty important metric here. Oh, real quick, let's just go S&P 500. Also having a jump there at the close. Gold and silver up, copper, meh. Japanese yen flat, Bitcoin ranging. Bitcoin, they had that jump and then got smacked down. I guess it was because of a Coinbase story. So that's where we're at. So the numbers we're looking for here: initial jobless claims, market expectation 212,000. We're also going to get a U.S. core PCE prices final print. That's relatively important. And then we've got the Chicago PMI, and remember again today that is the one that you get 3 minutes early. All right, so there's the liquidity pulled. Little bit of a move. The 210 versus 212. So slightly better than expected, and that caused a little bit of selling, but nothing too big. So I am going to turn off my account here. Our market's going to really have to do something amazing to get me in today, I think. I do think that overall we should continue to see buying. Well, core PCE prices final was 2 versus 2.1. I don't know if that's why they pushed back there, but I do expect that the end of month flows will continue to be positive. So we could potentially go long, but I'm just not feeling it. So the way that it reacted to that news is enough to... Okay. What's going on here in Discord? Lots of people trying to impersonate me overnight. There's another one. There's another one. This guy got banned, right? Okay, cool. Well, the other thing is my back kind of hurts, and my you know, core is not up to par, and that workout has just kind of got my whole core, and especially my lower back area. Not like sciatic or anything, but just like lower back area. That's a little sore. Okay, so there was a little bit of selling on the initial news, which with jobless claims being better than expected is about what we should expect. And then they pushed back the other direction and came back to breaking. So I'm not quite sure what to think of that. The flows that I see are still negative to the sell side. I'm more interested in long side flows because of the end of the month. That's been a really powerful force. You know, with what we had yesterday, that was pretty. So let's go. Oh, you know what I'm just remembering is that on Twitter we totally haven't been doing the Twitter thing. We haven't been streaming it to Twitter. But I have it set up. Let's see. We'll send to Twitter. We'll see if anybody joins. I forget how to get to it. I think in the past I've like linked it. This time, like I linked it on Twitter. This time I won't link it on Twitter. See if anybody joins, because I think they all see it on their feed. Okay, so. And here's Elon Musk 30 minutes ago, commenting on the story that Biden is considering granting amnesty and handing out green cards to illegal immigrants. That's a curious story to me. I can't imagine what be going through his head makes him think that that would be something that would help him win the election, but well, in the long run, it probably is a great way to try and keep your political power, isn't it? But I don't think that it would actually help them. Like the issue is this. When you live by the handouts and the what do we say? Special interest demographic sort of a thing. I'm trying to find the correct words here. Basically what the Democrat Party has done is they say, hey, if you vote for us, we're going to give you all these goodies. And then people vote for them. And the Democrat Party goes, okay, we got this demographic in the bag, so now we need to promise goodies to this demographic. And what ends up happening is you promise the goodies to the new demographic, and the old demographic goes, hold up, wait a second. You didn't give us anything. Like, you didn't actually help us. And eventually they turn away. And that's what's happening, is that among key minority demographics, the Democrat support is declining. So I think that we may be looking at a future where because information has become so widespread, people start to base their political identification based much more on personality and personal beliefs, and much less on where they were born and what social group they belong to. And if that is the case, the Party is in a huge, huge problem, because that's basically what keeps them going. My tiny brain literally can't compute how someone could live in New York City, for example, watch our government give millions in free money to illegals, and then still vote for said Democrats. Well, I can. They're paying attention to something else, right? They're paying attention to, oh, the Republicans are evil, and if we vote for them, they will implement a fascist religious dictatorship. So we have to vote for that's how that happens. You really gotta hate yourself. Yeah, stupid. Well, you know what though? You saw that. We talked about that like yesterday, right? There was a poll that said that like 50% of people there were considering leaving the city. Like, it is getting crazy. Morgan K says he left. It's really crazy to think about, because when I, was in New York for a few months, but I still remember that time very fondly. New York City was like Disneyland. It felt like a Disneyland to me. And that was shortly after Rudy Giuliani was no longer there. It's really only been the last few years that New York City really, really went downhill. It was so fast. And they're gonna move to Florida. Well, isn't it curious that Florida, having been the linchpin, I don't understand this, to be honest with you. How is it? Well, I guess maybe I do understand it, but Florida has been the swing state for such a long time. And there's such a hard fight over it. And I see the way that liberals kind of try and do these sorts of things, because I see it in my own state. It's really kind of underhanded and sneaky the way that liberal advocacy groups will come in. They'll pretend to be moderate, public interested groups. Like my primary concern is the public's greater interest, yada, yada, yada. And the reality is that they're like far left radical organizations, and everything that they're doing is just to try and increase Democrat support in that state. We've been very, very effective with it in Colorado. They're trying to do it in Utah. I think that they their success is limited because Utahns want to think of themselves as moderates. But they weren't successful in Florida. Florida went Republican and is basically not a swing state anymore. It is a leans Republican state. How did that happen? One or two governors did a really good job? Maybe. Or maybe it's all of the people fleeing New York. They went to Florida and then now they want to vote Republican? No. And when it comes to New York, it really is the immigration issue, because, guys, like, it's so weird how people don't think things through. Okay, so here's something that's on my mind. Hold on a second. I'm feeling like this heartburn. Like every time that I swallow, it feels like hard to swallow, and it almost feels like my esophagus is hot. And when I drink some water, it feels better. I don't know what the deal is with that. My theory is that I had brown rice last night, and so I got a lot of stomach acid, and so I'm having heartburn, but I'm not really sure. It just feels really weird. Okay, I promise this will come full circle. This is one of those ADHD tangents that it is relevant, and it will kind of come back to what we're talking about here, okay? So one of the things that I've been seeing a lot of clips on, I haven't watched the actual video, but I've seen a lot of clips on TikTok and so forth, is that Jordan Peterson had Destiny on his little show on the Daily Wire, I believe is what it was. I think that's from his show on the Daily Wire, because it's that same room that Jordan Peterson is always in. But I digress, okay? So him and Destiny are arguing, and a lot of people have kind of been showing that debate because Jordan Peterson got really what is the word? Well, he spoke very angrily. He got very animated about a couple of issues. The primary one being the COVID lockdowns and everything. You can tell that he is still just absolutely incensed by the way that the Trudeau government treated them and kind of forced things on people, and it just absolutely it just, you know, it's like a trauma response almost, sort of a thing, right? Like that one issue just really gets him going, right? And so people were talking, oh, you know, Jordan Peterson didn't look very good in that interview. And maybe there was some parts where he didn't look very strong. But there was one point in that interview where I feel that Jordan Peterson exposed Destiny. Like literally exposed Destiny. And what do I mean by that? Republicans understand Democrats better than Democrats understand Republicans. And in fact, I think that Republicans in some cases understand the Democrats better than the Democrats understand themselves, because they understand the way that the politicians are manipulating them, and the Democrats don't see it at all. They think that they're just trying to do the nice, good thing, and they don't realize how the government is not actually going to do any of those things, that if they did do those things, it would actually be worse off for them. Because we still talk and argue, Democrats just get, well, maybe. I don't know. Republicans have a little bit more of a tendency to get in line than Democrats, but that's certainly not the case as of late. That's probably too broad of a statement, but I digress. Not important. So how was it that he did that? Well, Jordan Peterson asked Destiny, what is the difference between like conservatives and liberals, Republicans and Democrats? And Destiny said, well, I think that most progressive people look at how the government can distribute capital to the benefit of society, and conservatives are more interested in how they can keep the capital in their own community and can use it to benefit themselves and their friends. That's what he said. And you could just see it in Jordan Peterson's face, that it was like he was almost surprised that Destiny gave such a poor answer, right? That he gave an answer that didn't understand the conservative Republican view of it at all. And so, you know, he in his gentle way tried to kind of lead Destiny in the right direction, and Destiny just didn't get it, wasn't interested in it. But he said, well, no, you know, a lot of it has to do with power. Liberals are more concerned about the power of large corporations, and conservatives are more concerned about the power of large government. And I think he's totally right on that one. But, you know, that's what it comes down to is Republicans, we kind of look at all of these policies and we understand that for any policy that you implement, like especially when you're taking money from one group of people and giving it to another group of people, like there's effects from that, and they aren't all positive. Like you don't actually necessarily increase the amount of money. Like if the government gives you money, that money came from somewhere else. So that alone doesn't increase GDP. It only increases GDP if that money goes to a place to make that money more productive, right? They take that money from a place where it wasn't being very productive and they give it to somebody that's really going to do something useful with it. Then that's when you have increases in GDP. And there can be some benefits to giving money to the poor, right? Because if anything, especially when you're talking about like homelessness and things like that, those are things that have negative effects on society. And so it turns out that like helping and providing those social services is cheaper than the larger social cost of those things, of like having people on the street and things like that. Okay, so like social services to some extent are really, really useful. But then you can also see in things like during the COVID pandemic, we take, well, we didn't really take money from people, but we used debt, and then we gave everybody a bunch of cash, and what good did it do us? It didn't do any good at all, because people just went in and spent it all, and then it created inflation, increased demand that the supply system couldn't handle, right? So it didn't actually help. And more broadly, I think one of the things that Republicans understand is that it's not as simple as just giving people money, right? Like if somebody had given me $100,000 like 10, 20 years ago, I don't think it would have done me a lick of good. I mean, probably would have been beneficial to my life in many different ways, but it would have robbed me of many of the experiences that made me what I am today and allow me to be effective, right? I'm really happy with the way that I've been performing with my work the past few months. I've been taking really meticulous notes. I have like really good to-do lists. I'm knocking out tasks constantly. I understand what's going on. Feel like I'm helping and making a difference. Feel like I'm getting all of the jobs and tasks around the house that I want to get done. Like I've moved into a period of like what I feel is hyper productivity. The only thing that's kind of been missing is I haven't had the time to make a video, but we're going to be doing that. I might record it this weekend. We'll see. I have a script written up. I'm going to review it Friday night, and then we'll decide if I'm going to record it Saturday or not. See what point is that. But anyways, right. I would not have gotten to that point if I hadn't have had to struggle through all of these things. Like, struggled, really getting a lot of things done when I worked at the bank, shifting over, working the place that I did for a very, very long time, and then switching over. Like that whole, it's all was, each little day was a necessary part of me becoming what I am today. And if somebody had just given me the money, then I wouldn't have had any of that personal development. When sometimes what you think is helping somebody is robbing them of the best experiences of their life. Republicans understand this. Liberals don't at all, right? So it's so crazy to me that Democrats end up being so short-sighted on these kinds of issues. It's like, okay, you have a bunch of illegal immigrants in your area. You're having trouble feeding them. So if you just give them money, they can go and buy the food themselves. And then we don't have to spend so much money on the social services to, make sure these people don't starve. And that's probably correct. There's probably less money to give them money on a card than it is to, like run a soup kitchen and all of that sort of stuff. But you're not thinking about all of the secondary effects, right? You're rewarding people for coming to your city and being an illegal immigrant. You're giving them money when you're not giving your own people money. You know what that is? That's an incentive, which means it's just going to attract more of the problem. And they don't see this. It's just like, what? Well, of course, the people in charge, they know this, but they kind of want the problem to get worse. But it was like Uzi's saying, it's like, what kind of, how stupid do you have to be to see your politicians doing that and not be like, this isn't going to end well? I don't get it. It's funny. Are you really that easy to manipulate with your sympathy that you can be that dumb? I just don't, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Even at the basis of levels, they're helping them, but not me. It is. Well, I think it is. There is a lot of, it implies the lack of even basic survival instincts. That's an interesting comment, because it does kind of feel like only a person that's really privileged already could be that dumb, right? It is a privileged belief. It really is. But I tell you what, man, there is a lot of jealousy out there right now in the economy. One of the things that I think about often that I don't talk as much about on this stream, but like from an economic, probably I should talk about it more on stream because this is like a really key economic issue, is that a narrative that Democrats or progressives, let's say progressives, will bring up a lot. And this is like one of those narratives that I can see is very much orchestrated. Like you can see who talks about it and they all start talking about it at the same time. And it's like they decide this is the message, right? Is to talk about the declining middle class. If you look at this chart, you can see like how much we should have if wealth inequality didn't increase. But then, and this is how much it has actually increased. Why is it that the middle class is declining? Yada, yada, yada. And like, it doesn't actually, that chart doesn't show the middle class declining. That chart shows that middle class incomes have continued to rise and that people are doing better today than they have ever in the past. It's absolutely crazy because if you polled people, is the life of the middle class better or worse than it was 50 years ago? I bet you'd probably get less than 20% that would say yes, even though it's a pretty clear numerical fact that things are better in almost every category. The houses that you live in are better. The food that you are eating is better. The amount of leisure time that you have is more. It's crazy when you really go down into the real statistics, like you dig into Fred and you look at the real numbers and do your own kind of analysis and learn how to adjust indicate things based on inflation. And there's different benchmarks for inflation, and you have to make sure that you're using the one that's using the right, that's adjusted by the same thing. And you really dig into that stuff. It's like every single thing. Life is better. Nobody sees it. Why is that? Well, I think it's jealousy. I think that most people, they remember when they were a teenager. That's where their bias is anchored. So they remember what it was like when their parents were like in their 40s and 50s and how much money they had. And they think that's the middle class lifestyle, when really that's probably like the upper middle class lifestyle. And most people don't reach that period until they're past their peak earning years, right? So then they go out into the world, they get out of college, and they're at the very bottom, and they're not living like, you're 25 and you're not living like your parents did when they were 40. And so now you think, it's not fair, right? Because you're anchored to the wrong thing. You don't remember, you don't know what it was like when your parents were poor, when they first came out of college and they had to struggle. Probably it was way worse. I tell you what, my dad, when he just came out of school, I tell you what, my dad had a great career. We were upper middle class for sure. Okay? But when they first got married, oh man. He tell me stories that he used to be, he worked like 2 or 3 jobs. And one of the jobs that he worked at night was like a security guard. Like he would have to patrol this warehouse and kick the vagrants out. I never had to do shit like that. It's crazy. And I think about this often. Like why do people have this bias to think something that is the exact opposite of the reality? It's pretty wild. And when those sorts of biases in people start to play out on a political scale, look out. It's nasty. It's nasty. And people do dumb things. And I think it's coming back to bite the Democrat Party, because again, like you're doing everything to be like pro illegal immigration. You're losing the Hispanic actual voters. Like more Hispanic voters trust Donald Trump than ever. So is it actually helping him? Maybe if you, in the long run, you get more people voting for you, you increase that demographic. But again, if you're losing that demographic overall, then it doesn't actually help you, does it? Talking about your dad having to be a security guard like it's some alien job, a difficult job that no one does. Well, so being a security guard today is I guess my point was like the kind of job that he worked back then was much more difficult than any kind. Like if you were doing it today, you'd probably just be sitting in front of monitors, right? I don't even know if you would call what he did but being a security guard, to be honest with you. But I didn't have to do that. And I didn't have to work multiple jobs either. The affluenza in you, yeah, this is totally. But hold on, News Squawk is talking. I'm just so there was a point where, you know, when I first got married, we had practically nothing, right? Lived in the cheapest apartment you could possibly find. I think it was like $600 at the time. Just crazy to think about. Like, I don't know if I could find an apartment for less than $1,500 now. Right? No. He could not support his family being a security job. He was working like 3 jobs at the time. That was like a side. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't like a, okay, you're the security guard, the sort of job that you could work for like 10, 20 years, that sort of a thing. No, it was like a side gig. He would go down to the place, patrol through it, kick all of the vagrants out, and then go to sleep. So it wasn't like a real security guard job is the way that you might typically think of it, right? Like I would think, am I wrong? I would think that a security guard working today would probably have a 401k, for instance. Right. My dad supported a wife and 4 kids being a department manager at a grocery store. Wow. Well, a department manager, that's not like a huge role, but it's certainly not something you could support a family on today. But I think that has more to do with like the efficiencies and so forth. Like, I don't think it's fair to say here's like this one job, it made this much relatively speaking, and here that job is today, and here's how much you make, because, you know, the job market shifts. Certain jobs will be more valuable and less valuable and so forth, right? It was where I was kind of coming from, is like the opportunities have changed and are way better for people today, right? Like when I came out of school, I worked programming jobs. I made $10 to $15 an hour at some of these jobs. Okay, so they were like Thinking back on it now, you're doing some programming and only making $10 an hour is pretty crazy, but New Squawk is saying a lot of things today, but nothing that's super important. It's kind of disrupting my thinking here. The opportunities that were available to me out of school, even before I had gone to college, were way better than the opportunities that were available to my dad. Yeah. And even though some of the jobs that I did were pretty basic entry level things, I did not have to work 3 jobs, for instance, like he did. Most of the people I know are varying degrees of management with Publix today. Publix, what's that mean? I mean, there's no doubt though that the kind of like the working class sector of our economy has been decimated, right? Like manufacturing is not a very good gig right now. And there are some manufacturing jobs that take real skill and I don't think get compensated adequately for the amount of skill and effort that is required. But that's because, in part, because there's so many other more productive parts of the economy that those jobs become worth comparatively less. Oh, Publix is a grocery store? Oh, I've never heard of that. In the Southeast, I've never heard of that one, but I haven't really spent a whole lot of time in the Southeast. Are you trading order flow on micros? Well, yeah, so I will watch what's going on in the main instrument, ZN, and then place my trades over here in the micros. That's a lot of what I do. Probably should have sold it here, because I did say, like, I'm expecting long flows. This went... So they moved down, they came back up, they moved up, they came back, and then I was kind of like, I'm not interested in this. I don't feel good, and I don't like the way that it's moving. But since then, it's been a pretty good uptrend. I'm actually not interested in this uptrend either, though, because look at the flows on it. On ZN, it's been selling. It's only really in the 30-year where they've been buying. So I don't think I completely understand what's going on right now. The flows aren't all in alignment, so it's not really an advantageous situation for me. How much do you want? Oh, you can just have it. Oh my gosh. This is such a simple one. Where is, let me put it in the Ninja Script channel. Oh, you know what? I totally forgot about this guy that had an indicator in trading view and he wanted it copied over. Let's find this. Maybe I should look at that because I had a thought about it. It was kind of an interesting thought. Let's see your strategies. Time stop and reverse. There, I put it on Discord. They didn't collapse the equities on the close yesterday, so the portfolio stayed strong all day. Yeah, dude, like, so we didn't have a whole lot of time to spend on the charts here, but like, the heck was with that open and everything. So here in ZN, they basically erased the entire day's gains on the extended session open. And then in the S&P 500, there was an absolutely wild and crazy rally of 20, 30 points at the very end of the day. I think that we're getting some really strong end-of-month flows. The end-of-month flows in the S&P 500 are going to be sell, but it seems like everybody else knows that and is trying to take advantage of it to buy the dip. anyways, the thing I was getting at before is again, when you look at like every quantitative measure, when you look at the economy as a whole, you will see that life for the middle class has gotten better. But one of the ways in which, you know, we get deceived into not seeing that is by focusing on like an individual job, because there are certainly individual jobs that for the people working those jobs, it's worse today than it was. But the thing that you don't see is that the number of alternatives available to them where they could make more are way better than they were back when, like, my dad was just married, for instance. Thanks, babe. And the place where the group of people that really got screwed over were the factory workers, essentially. The industrial base in the United States is just absolutely gutted, which is bad, because I think you kind of need that. I think that they're understanding it. They're working towards making it better, but it's going to be a long time. It'll be a long time before that comes back. And it's, you know, it's been bad through all of Biden's term, really. Man, I cannot remember the last time that we had like a manufacturing PMI that was good. It's really bad right now. What's this Bill Gross saying? A genius can have a high IQ or invest in the stock market during a bull market. A genius can also be an investor with the courage to sell DJT options at 250 annualized volatility. Oh my god, let's pull that chart up. What do you guys think about this one? I think that this stock is I find it amusing, to be honest with you. I find it amusing because everybody looks at it and they're like, nobody uses that social media company. They don't have any revenue. Like, how can it be worth that much? And what they're not realizing is what? Price is determined by the orders. The orders is not a reflection of all available information. It's a reflection of the people buying and selling. And yeah, guess what? A lot of people are going to buy it. Especially when it has a run like that, there's going to be a lot of people out there to buy it. Can they sustain that interest? I guess we'll see. But you know what? If Donald Trump wins the election, and it's just looking more and more every day like he will, this stock just gets more interesting, right? A stock just gets more interesting. So I don't know how far it can go, because, you know, trying to predict how, you know, the madness of crowds and how much money will actually come into a mania like that is anybody's guess. But I would be super nervous right now doing what Bill Gross is saying. I mean, so selling the options at 250 annualized volatility sure sounds like a steal to me. But what if DJT increases 50% again tomorrow? How much are you going to lose on those options that you sold? I don't think that I would be able to be very comfortable selling options and that sort of a thing, even if I know that, like, the longer term, basically the longer term move is to sell and you'll make money. Sell options and you'll make money. But the chances of you getting stopped out of that trade before you actually make money are super high. Do you get the expected fills on the micro contract when you're looking at the main contract? I would say, generally speaking, yes. One of the issues that I had here, or that I have here, look at the 10-year. The spread is 4 ticks. We just had a pretty decent rally. The spread is still 4 ticks. Not a lot of volume in the micros either. I kind of wonder sometimes how much of an effect I have on the micros. Because it does seem like if I take a trade that there's more activity over here. My reasons for not taking a trade today were mostly personal. But I do see a couple of things where it's like, this looked like a good trend, but it doesn't look like the kind of trend that I usually like to trade. So maybe I could have made money off of it, but you know, it's probably more in line with my strategy to have not traded it. But you know, I don't like trading when there's a 4-tick spread. Right? Usually what happens to me is there's like a 1-tick spread, and I can put a limit order out at that price and get filled. And since I often have a specific price that I want to get in at, because I'm watching the liquidity over the whole range and everything, and I kind of know where the range is over here in ZN. So, you know, I kind of have a price that I want to get. And so I can either, you know, I'll be the only person in line, or I can market order into it. But, you know, sometimes when it's like news and things like that, and the spread is like 4 ticks, then it kind of sucks. Because then, you know, if I'm going to hit the offer here, it really needs to go for me. So that kind of sucks. So I'm going to say that for me, it's not a huge issue, but that's because I know how to deal with it. But it's absolutely a disadvantage of trading the micros right now. Not such a problem if you're trading micro ES, for instance, so because the liquidity over there is super awesome. Which reminds me, by the way, they added some new instruments, and I wasn't able to look at them. I wonder if we can try here again. Should be from the CVOT. See, it doesn't pull any from the CVOT. So it download from the CME. Then I bet you if I come over here and look for MTN, doesn't show up. Micro TN sounds like a good place to play. Would maybe have better liquidity, but still small size. But I can't see it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. If any of you are able to pull it up with rhythmic data, let me know. Maybe if I pull up, yeah, that's a good way to. That's some good thinking here. Maybe if I pull up rhythmic here, then I try and pull up an order book, add symbol. Whenever I do this, it takes forever for it to load up. I don't know. When I look over here, I don't even see TN. Where is UB show up? When you click search in Rhythmic, the results that it gives you are completely useless. I did UB and it gave me nothing. I do ZB. How is that not the first one? There's the ZB that I get. Hmm. Because I'm pretty sure I can see TN. Yeah, here it is. TN M4 on the CBOT. Here, we'll just go all products on that exchange. Okay, so there's UB. So what if I did go to M's? MYM. Ah, micro, ultra, 10-year. What do I do? I click add. Oh, okay. It did pull it up. Okay. Okay. So they still kind of have this problem where the inside bid is not always super, like there's only 6 contracts there. But that's decent. It's probably better than what you get here on the micro yields futures. So now why can't I pull it up in Jigsaw? Let's try refresh CBOT download. Wait, when I come in here and I do this and I say, for instance, ZN, does it tell me what exchange? Yes, it does. It tells me CBOT. So then how come when I go to download instruments, I don't get anything from the CBOT? M D N E N. Hmm. Oh, our music ended already? Well, let's ask the Jigsaw trading. What if I just select everything? Will it actually let me see common stock too? That would be interesting. Brian Gardner, good morning. That's a new name. Welcome to the stream. It looks like the treasuries have come back quite a bit from that that uptrend. The liquidity in the micro 10-year though still looks pretty awful. I don't know what's with that. Requesting symbols for ASX 24 common stock. It probably has to wait for that to time out because that's probably not even a thing. Well, I'll minimize rhythmic here. We'll just wait for that to go through. So I was gonna say, you know what? I'm being super ADHD this morning, aren't I? Well, that kind of fits in with my overall feeling that like I don't think that I'm not feeling very well and all these other things. Yeah, that would maybe make me exhibit those sorts of things. Okay, what was it we're gonna do? This one right here. Use strategy analyzer tab. So we're going to use R factor of 10, R factor reverse of 1, and a stop of 56. But let's see, will it let me optimize the start time? Let's see. Optimization. So we want the R factor to be 10. We want the R factor reverse to be 1, and we want the stop to be, what was it, 56? 56. No, we cannot optimize the start time. I think we could optimize the start time, actually. We just have to change the strategy a little bit. Idea. Okay, so here's my code. I'm gonna come down here and I'm gonna add a new integer. Ninja script property public int time offset get set. Since it doesn't know how to optimize a time, we'll just add minutes to it, right? We're trying to backtest the optimal time. So if we change nothing else other than the time that it trades, is 11:01 the actual best time? Yeah. So start time dot minute is an integer. Stop spilling the tea, man. I know, right? Well, maybe I will hide what is the best time. Okay. Int hours equals time offset divided by 60. Wait, will that truncate? I forget how that works in C#. C# division int. Why? Okay, I think that works. Okay. And then int offset hours, int offset minutes equals time offset modulus 60, right? So then when we come in here, we can say hours offset I got it backwards. It's offset minutes. There we go. Da-da-da-da. Do you know anything about money market funds and what to watch for that translates to market information? So there are reports that are put out by Goldman Sachs in particular about flows that will kind of tell you things about how these different types of funds and so forth are behaving and so forth. You can sometimes get them on zero hedge, but not always. How they figure that information out, I have no clue. I'm gonna cancel that and see if I go to these other ones, if that maybe works. No? Aw. Well, now it just looks like screwed up. Come back to that. Sometimes I wonder if Ace Trades is still around. You know, last time that you guys asked me that, I was like, he's probably still there. But now I don't know. I haven't heard from him for such a long. I don't know if he's you know, he was kind of helping these other guys out. Who knows what he's doing now? Okay. Strategy analyzer is still there, right? Okay. So if we come in here and we change the start time to 6 o'clock my time, and let's trade it between 6 and 2. So that would be 8 hours, right? 6 to 12 is 6 plus 2 is 8. 8 times 60. 8 times 60. Oh, wait, I should know what that is. That's 420, huh? 480. 6 times 8 is 48, not 42. 480. Okay, so we'll do the time offset from min 0 max 480. Increment by 1. Okay, so that should do 480 runs. Let's see if I got it right. Okay. It looks like it's doing something. It looks like, we'll see. Let's see. This is going to be, I'm really, really interested to see what the result of this is. He has a channel. Oh my gosh. Smart money concept stuff. It just goes back to the thing that whoa. Hold up. What the fuck? There's no way. No, there's no way. That reversing sure works. If it comes back 1301, I'm gonna cut my pants. Okay, so which one was it? 478. Whoa, wait, what? Really? No way. That can't be right. Okay. Executions. Oh, wait. Did I screw it up? Oh, that's just the session close. Okay, entries. Entries is always at 159. That's still not right. There's something about this that's messed up. There's something about this that is doing, I guarantee you. It's basically, okay, this doesn't make any sense to me at all. It's basically taking a trade just before the nicey close and then holding it for that 1 hour that things go after the close on the futures. How can that work? That makes no sense at all. It's impossible! I feel like I'm like a Vegeta moment sort of thing. There's no way. There's no way this is... What? No. No, this can't be. It's impossible. Wait. Okay, so there's a couple of max adverse excursion that could be taken out of this for sure. Seth Cook. This is literally blowing my mind for sure. Like, how is this thing getting a sharp ratio of 1.11? Wait, so... The exits aren't very good, but... So there is this period of volatility right here where it seems to make and lose the most. That is a little bit concerning to me. What is the deal? Okay, so let me explain again. Okay. At basically 1 minute before the S&P 500 closes, like the New York Stock Exchange closes rather. So 2 o'clock my time, 4 o'clock Eastern time. It goes long. That's literally the entry. It goes long. So you can see here, it goes long, and then it holds it until the futures close, and it gets out when the futures close. Okay. If it loses, let's see if we can find an example. Yes, right here. Okay. Here it bought, it lost money. And so what it does is it then reverses for twice as much. Then reverses for twice as much. I wonder. So is this stat actually saying that in the hour after the NYSE close that the market tends to decline? When do we open the funds at? Try running it on ZN. Nina script property. Mr. J there. Try a different instrument. Well, I would try that in a second. Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me. Except for that it's not in 5, it's in 2, right? Because it comes out 3 minutes early. So we should expect to see, a move here. Yeah, that one still ends up being the best. It was worth a try, but actually what I want to do is let's just switch it over here and then turn off buy side and see what it does. Wait, what? That actually doesn't make sense. I guess I need to do a little bit more here. Trying to think about the best way to do this. And I think that I'm just not going to do the best way to do this. I'm just going to do it the lazy, simple, most straightforward way because that's what's going to be the fastest for me right now. I didn't see a reaction at 2 minutes, so I don't think that this number is going to be that big of a deal. Wow, I totally lost track of time and what I was doing there, huh? Okay, so the number was 41 spot. Whoa, wait, what? 41 spot 4 versus an expected 46. That is an incredibly weak number, man. Oh, okay, they did jump a little bit. They did jump a little bit. I would have expected a stronger reaction off of that number than what we got. Tiny little mistake there. No. I don't know if those stops are correct. I think that I screwed up something there and that the strategy is not actually working the way that I want. That when it takes that second entry, that it doesn't manage risk at all. Because why am I not getting long trades? Surely it's stopping out sometimes. change anything, but just to be sure here. Oh. Missed a couple of things here, I think. So I'm changing it to be correct. It will probably actually like maybe perform worse from doing that. But the key thing is that when I'm not doing a buy side, that it will give me long trades here. There we go. So going back to this one with the, now I switch it back to buy side. So this was the one that had like a 1.11. Oh, okay. It didn't affect it that bad. It didn't affect it that bad. But this one right here. No, that does not make sense to me. I cannot explain this. I cannot explain this, guys, because it made me think, okay, so does that mean that it's likely to go the other way or something? But really what it's saying is that, like, you're likely to get a good reversal afterwards or something like that. I don't know if this... There's something about this that's fishy. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm very weary about this thing. So if I go back to this thing and I rerun this again now with the better management and all of that. So I did that. I switched it around so that I can tell this strategy to either go long at the specified time or short at the specified time. And my idea was that if I switched it around and I told it, you know, go short instead of long, that the initial trade should do better. Like it shouldn't get stopped out as often, sort of a thing. But that was not the case. It just switched it from it made more money on the long trades than wouldn't it made money on the short trades. This one right here is still the best though. 478. Huh. How's that possible? So I have another question. What if I change this to max net profit? Will it do something super degenerate? What does the original code need change? Oh yeah, I changed the original code just a tiny bit. You have to take the short at 15 points below the 14.59 established price. Do not understand what you're trying to say there. It is so incredibly bizarre to me that it's telling me to take a trade just before the NYSE close and hold it till the extended session close. How can that? It just makes zero sense to me. Don't sell at the close, sell 15 points below the close. Why? I mean, it's taking a trade based on time, not. Yeah, because that is degenerate. And what time? 1:02. Oh, no, I wasn't trying to isolate the reversal per se. Right. So what I was only, okay, so yeah, let me back up. So there's a time at which it takes a trade, and it will take the trade short, and then, well, no, originally it was long, so it'll take the trade long, right? But then if price goes down, right, then it stops out and it goes short at this point, right? And so then presumably a decent amount of the time, at least, it goes the other way, or it keeps going in the overnight. And so you make money from here to here. And because you're doing it double, essentially, you make a ton on those reversal trades. So I thought it makes so much on those reversal trades. It's really when it's wrong that the strategy is making money. So what would happen if I just took it short in the first place? If I just took it short in the first place, would I get a better probability that actually it does tend to just go down after the close? But that didn't result in more profitability. So that doesn't explain why it does that. I'm trying to snuff out where the edge from this results seems to be coming from, because they seem too good to be true. And maybe it's just that there's not enough data there, but something kind of sus about it. Now, on the split side, if I came back here and I changed these reverses to not double down, because it's basically doing a martingale, right? Takes one trade. If that one trade doesn't work, then it trades double the number of contracts the next trade, right? So if I'm not martingaling on it and I rerun that, let's change this back to sharp filtered. One thing that I can say about this is that because it is basically trading just before the close, I don't think that this would be appropriate to start a fund with, right? You started a fund with it, yeah, I think you would run into liquidity problems very quickly. But to make $1 million, basically you're making $1 million over 5 years or something like that, 5 or 6 years. That's pretty darn good. With one contract, like what? Okay, it gives pretty close to the same results. Yeah, still comes out the same. I would rather it not take the 2 contracts the other way, because that kind of will skew your results. Now, one of my issues here. So let's close this one and take this one. Open a new strategy analyzer tab. Now run it. Oh, okay. Hold on. Well, so the issue with ZN is that we would have to readjust the stop size, right? So we can maybe go back and try and like redo that. Because if I was going to optimize on all of the parameters, it would be like thousands of iterations. I don't know if we could handle that. Okay, so here was University of Michigan. 5-year inflation 2.8 versus 2.9. 1 year 2.9 versus 3.1. I think that would probably result in some buying in the treasuries. And it is. They were already kind of up. Could have bought this after the PMI. So I'm trying to sort out now if there is perhaps some issue with the granularity here. Right? Like, if my stop is 56 ticks, right? How am I getting so many of these ones that make big losses?
Block buy.
Right? That shouldn't be happening. See, there's all the ones that hit the stop. There's something wrong with the code. So coming back to this then, what does that make my average? My average winner is larger than my average loser. The ratio is 1.5. That's good. My largest winner is smaller than my largest loser, though. Right? And it is on the short side of the trades. So, basically, exit short stop market. Oh yeah, okay, no. Exit name my stop. See, you never get my reverse stop. So why is that? Maybe like that. Well, that still didn't change anything, did it? Oh. Something's not right. I don't know if these are even doing anything. So at this spot, where is it getting execution? On execution update, if stop order does not equal null and stop order equals execution.order. Then it does the enter short. Oh, wait, what? Bars in progress index. Is it because you need the name? Signal name from entry signal. My reverse entry. those stops should be getting hit. Like it is doing something kind of degenerate. It's not holding risk, and that's probably why the results are so good. So how do we fix that? Why is it not taking that? Well, because it's saying quantity. So see that part right there, this should just be 1. That's what I changed before. And then could also try duplicating all of these. Maybe it has something to do with that it only does it on the fill or something, but it seems to me that the stop and the target on the reverse entry is not working. So I'm very weary about the results it's giving us. So if I enter short, then the stop should be the fill price plus stop times tick size, and the limit help me creating an alert. I have 3 EMAs and create an alert when the 9 crosses 14, and then alert me when the 14 crosses the 55. But it's not doing anything? That's weird. Well, one thing is, it will not make the sound until the bar closes, right? Unless you have the indicators set to be calculate on each tick. That's weird. I'm not sure. I don't know if I can explain that. Unless you're doing something wrong. Well, what I think that this sounds like one where you should like take screenshots of your setup and post it on the NinjaTrader forum. Then we could comb through all of yours. Exactly what you did, you know. What is the stop order and the target order for? Partial fill. I am really, really puzzled here. See, if I comment these lines out, let's just verify that I'm not crazy. Okay, and I rerun this. Nothing should change. The total should still be 246. Yeah, nothing changes, right? Those stops are not getting filled. Maybe I should be using set profit target and set stop loss instead down in here. Set stop loss, my reverse entry, comma, calculation mode dot price, then this bit right here, stop, comma, is stimulated. Stop. Ooh. Okay. Try that. Ha! Not market approach. Okay, that shouldn't change the results of this one. Oh no, wait, it did change. Oh yes, it will because
Block
the
by.
targets. Bring the target in a little bit, but bring the sharp ratio up a little bit. Cool. Okay. So man, are you guys still with me? Let's see here. Is the reversal stop named correctly? Oh, further back. So I am still at like, okay, so one thing that bothered me was that I was getting stops that were really bad. So now if I come in and I sort this by total profit, now I don't have a single winner or a single loser that's greater than the 56. I do have some winners that are pretty big though. Okay. And some that hit the target, but not very many, right? So that fixes that issue. And when I come back to the summary, my largest winner is 560. My largest loser is negative 56. Voila. So that is all now behaving correctly. So now I'm still back to, I can't explain where the edge is coming from. Like, why is it doing this? Why is this working? I don't understand. Now, I should go back and redo this test right here. I still have it for sharp ratio, right? Yeah. And optimized by sell side. Okay, cool. Let's redo that and just see if when you add the risk management that's a little bit better, if there's a time period that works a little bit better. Why is the largest winner 560? So my target, sorry, my stop is 56 and the R factor is 10. So there were some that were allowed to go the stop times 10, which is 560. Yeah. And I would note that I have a different variable for the R factor reverse. The R factor reverse should only be taking... Oh, am I actually using that bit though? Yeah, I am. So on the reverse one, it's only doing 1-to-1 risk reward. Yeah, this is all in ticks. So there's a little bit of like, you know, one of the big things that you got to be worried about is things like curve fitting or selection bias. So like curve fitting would be, we have all these variables and we just change the variables until it matches the curve the best. And that doesn't mean that it's predictive or that it's going to go do that moving forward. So this is a big problem when you're doing optimization, that you don't want to optimize it too much. But the only things that we are optimizing are like your stops and targets and things like that. So a little bit like, you know, and then the time that you take the trade. So, but then there's also the selection bias. The selection bias is kind of like you shoot the broadside of a barn and then you draw a target where the most bullets hit, right? Doesn't mean that you're a good shot. This one might be an example of that, right? But it's a little weird. That's the thing, is that it's basically taking it so close to the close is kind of a little... Okay, so that actually did make a little bit of a difference. 473 now instead of, what, 478. So it took it a few minutes earlier now because of that. You'll notice, though, the thing that wilds me out about it, this column right here, man. That is wild. You're getting 65% win rate. And your average winner is larger than your average loser. Your largest winner is larger than your largest loser. And if I come down in here, the MFE is 47 and the MAE is only 10. The MFE is only 10? Can you believe that? So like you take a trade with a stop of 10 ticks and it works? Like what? That's insane. Something about it is just too good to be true. Because normally, if your winner is larger, average winner is larger than your average loser, your win rate's going to be below 50%. So to get it 65% is nuts. And on top of all of that, the setup is stupid. It's like the stupidest entry I can possibly think of. It's like 3 minutes before the close, buy it. That's all it is. Man, it's crazy. I mean, there is this whole thing that like a lot of the gains happen in the overnight market because the money is actually coming from China and things like that. But I still not sure I can explain these results, man. It is just a little bit too weird. It's a little bit too weird. You overthink these things? Well, I think it scares me a little bit, to be honest with you, right? Yeah, well, the thing, it's not actually trading with a tight stop, but it is kind of so... Oh, I wouldn't be able to show you. If I came over here and I showed you the analysis and I showed you like the MAE, you are going to see some that went pretty far against you. Right, all the way up to 56. We would have to be able to limit it to only the ones that have that reverse, to only the reversal trades. Which we could come back and modify the strategy to show us that, but I don't want to bother with that at the moment. People have markets, yeah, and like a time-based habit, I think would be more likely to find a flow for you, for instance. But then that brings me back to this whole thing that's like, okay, well, what if I do the opposite? Still makes money. How's that? Right? It still makes money, and well, the probabilities kind of shift because your initial short usually doesn't work, right? So it does suggest to me that the market tends to move up after the close, after the NYSE close. Forward test it, I guess. Shouldn't be too hard to. You wouldn't, like, the funny thing is that you wouldn't even need the ninja strategy to do it, right? Because Ninja Trader has a stop and reverse thing set into it. So you just have to go and find that time and then click in. Yeah. I mean, the thing is that this is one of the first intraday day trading strategies that I've seen that fits my qualifications. That, let me go back and, the one that we would actually trade. Average winner, larger than your average loser, Sharp ratio above 0.5. What's the issue with Ninja? Oh, I'm not having that issue, but maybe their data's having a problem. Where do I send the invoice? The invoice for what? No, you don't need to pay me for that. This is a stupid, simple. I tell you what, guys, I could totally like program for hire, and I think that it would be a rough living. I don't think that I would make as much as I make now, but I could probably make a living off of it, probably do a decent job. But most of the time, I would be programming like stupid stuff that I'm like, you don't really actually need somebody to program this for you, right? Yeah, let me go and update it again. Oh, what's this? I'm wondering someone could... Well, let me post this again. First of all, this one right here. Let's delete this message. And upload a file. Time, stop and reverse. Here it is. Yeah. Anyways, this is the first one where I'm like, you could trade this. Now, holding it after the open is a little bit like, okay. But okay, so here's another thought. There's just a crazy idea. Okay, what if we don't exit on session close and we just let it go to the stops and targets? That makes it even better, but the Sharpe ratio isn't as good. Kind of figured. Wow, you get some long trades that just really go, huh? The average winning trade? Whoa, wait, what? The average winning trade actually ends up being near that target? No way. No way. This is getting stupid, guys. I don't believe any of what this backtester is telling me. There's no flipping way that this actually works. Oh my gosh. That's so weird. There's no way. Why did I go back to this other one? What did I want to look at? Oh, I wanted to look at the streaks. The streaks. Max consecutive winners 9, max consecutive losers 7. Oh, wow. And there are periods. There was a bear market period where it actually declines after the open. Fair enough. Fair enough. Your start time is different? What do you mean? So I set the start time to be the earliest that I would want to take a trade. And then this time offset is basically number of minutes from the start time to take the trade. Right? Yes, I am. It is the buy on close trade. Like, that's the whole point, is that when we tested your strategy yesterday, and it said, oh, at a certain time, you buy it, and it tends to work. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. So then we went back and said, what happens if we optimize the time that you take the trade? Because there was a significant difference between trading at 11 and at 11:01. Right? So
Block buy.
the backtester, the optimizer, doesn't know how to optimize the time. So I had to turn it into an integer. It can optimize an integer. So that time offset is number of minutes from the start time. And that's how I got it. So this should be what I got right here. This 169.875. And we're using a time offset of 478, which is what? When we take the trade, when do we take the trade? Entry time 1:59 p.m. So if I come in and I change this to 1:59, 01 p.m., 1:59 p.m., and the time offset to 0, it should give us the same result. If it doesn't, then I'm gonna flip out. But... Okay, I'm flipping out because it didn't actually do the same thing. What's with that? Oh, it's slightly different because it ends up taking it at 2. So, like, if maybe I change it to 158. Sure. There we go. Cool. And now it gives me the correct. Yeah. Because Ninja updates on bar close. So that's, yeah, totally. That's exactly what it is. Okay. Anyways. So when you come in here and you do the analysis portion of it, right? Cumulative max drawdown. So you do have at one point a max drawdown of 800 ticks, which if we change that to currency is $4,000. Okay, so that actually does kind of limit it for most traders. But how much time do we have left? Well, today's Thursday, so maybe we could do this more on this tomorrow. But, you know, I have things that are like set a max loss for the day or things like that. Or a max loss for the month, right? Like I can come down and I can say, if my drawdown ends up being more than 2,000, stop trading that month. I think in those months, though, it's still not net made money. Let's see if we change it to monthly. Okay. Did lose money on the COVID month. There are some unprofitable months. This looks like something, especially if you had 2 or 3 contracts, this does look like something you could live on, though, man. Oh, you're right. The market is closed tomorrow. Yeah, but we'll still be here, and that would be a great time to just backtest and test things. Still, I don't know, man. I'm looking at it, and the strategy appears to work. This is messing me up. This is really messing with my head because you know, the qualifications has always been okay. It needs to have a Sharpe ratio over 0.5. It would be better if it was over 1, but we want a Sharpe ratio over 0.5. We want a profit, and we want our average winner to be larger than our average loser by around 1.5. Okay. And that's what we're getting. And so then it was like, and you need 5 years of data. And that's what we're getting. And then it's like, you need a drawdown to be within these parameters. And it fits. It seems to be passing all of my hurdles with ease, and I can't explain it, and I don't trust it. But like the other thing is, sometimes I would come in and I would get results, and I would be like, well, like you're probably curve fitting. It's taking trades in a time period where there's no way that it would actually get that price, that sort of a thing, right? But because it's a time entry, I don't think that that's what's actually happening. I think that if you come in and you use market orders, that you would get results very close to what this is getting. And I just can't explain why that is. It's just like, or also the way that it's that the reversal trade does so well. Like the reversal trade makes money 71% of the time with the same risk parameters. Suggests that there's some real trendiness in that post-close market. You know? It's super weird, man. But you're right. We have to start forward testing it. We have to start forward testing it. Now, I'm not usually around on that open, so it'd be hard for me to remember to turn it on and everything. But you guys just remember to have me turn it on every day. Morgan says he's been trading it. I don't think that we could start a fund with it, but good grief. Halo Jay, hello. Good morning. How are you? Dude, yeah, the other thing that bothers me about it is that it's a little bit, it's such a, that I can explain it to you. Just take a trade 2 minutes before the close. That's all you got to do. And then if you're wrong, reverse. Yeah, I didn't do it with the micros. Do it with the micros, size up. If this is a true edge, I'm going to be like, this is going to wild. That'll be so wild. I didn't have it on double the reverse, actually. You can choose. I mean, with the percentage that you're getting, I kind of want to go and try this with other things now. Like, are there other signals that I've had that it's like when the signal is wrong, turn around and do the reverse, and you'll get a really high win rate on the reverse? Is that something? Because like exiting and reversing sounds so degenerate to me, but it just works so well in that one particular thing. I have to wonder that it's not just that situation, that there's actually something to when you're wrong, turn around and reverse, and it'll go a lot further. Okay, there was some. Oh, that's right. Uzi said try it on ZN. That's right. Okay, do it on ZN. What is your Instagram? I mean, I have a private Instagram, but I don't never post anything on it. You don't need my Instagram. You can find me on Twitter and YouTube, and I don't really spend time anywhere else. Okay, so this one's not going to give me very good results because
Block by.
we would need to optimize the stops and targets and stuff, right? Like, I think that if I set the stop to like 4, and let's just make the R factor 2. There you go. Comes out a little bit better. I am learning to trade the market using ICT concepts. Do you have any suggestions? Forget that ICT is ever a thing. Completely ignore it and go and learn how the market really actually behaves. I have like an order flow video series where I go into how order flow works. I talk about in that like an overall strategy, but generally what I'm doing is I'm trying to use information about the market to predict which way it's going to go, right? I know everything that's going on, and I know based on that information, are people going to buy or sell? And that's basically it. Which is like really like what you think of as pure trading anyways, right? So, but the smart money concepts is nonsense. Yeah, Morgan K, just buy the nicey close. That's it. There you go. I have 100% the same opinion about ICT as crap. So if you have not seen my video about smart money concepts, go and watch that video. It's actually really interesting. It's not just ICT is crazy. You know, like, so there's this other guy, and I kind of liked him. He made some videos going into how ICT is a charlatan, essentially, and all of the crazy things that he doesn't say, right? I don't care about that, right? What matters is what does the market actually do, right? So in my video, I backtest it. I go through the setup. I posted the code, maybe maybe we could make a follow-up video digging into that code if people wanted, but nobody has said anything, so I haven't done that. And then I show you the profitability of it. And I show you that there actually was a period where it was working really, really well. And then when ICT took off, when his YouTube channel took off, the strategy stopped working. So as far as I can tell, the strategy did well because the guy became popular on YouTube, but then when it became too popular, it's a negative edge. And this is something that we've always theorized happens. Now we have a case study of it happening. And I think that we could probably continue to track popularity of strategies on YouTube and see their profitability change. Like this one that we talked about today. Like, mark this day down, man. March 28th. Does the performance of it change from here on out? Yeah. The guy went so far as to claim he's the author of some algorithm that runs all the markets. I mean, how dumb do you have to be to buy that stuff? Well, no. Because most of the people that are following him probably weren't there when he said that, right? Like this is the biggest problem. Stop giving up the sauce. I know, right? Well, I didn't intend to. If you had come to me in private message and I back tested this, right, and we had done all of this, I would be so tight-lipped, right? Is it possible to program a popular strat baiter? Maybe. I mean, what I can do, what you could do is you could say, here are all of the popular strategies, and here's how we're going to fade those strategies or try and take advantage of the other side of those trades, right? But then you would have to have some way of quantifying how popular that strategy is and how you're going to switch between them, right? I don't know. One of the issues that we have with this is that it is so I could come through and I could make a strategy that says test all of the different candlestick patterns and then trade the candlestick pattern that does the best over that time period. And there's no guarantee that that will be the same when you change the time period, right? The only reason why I'm not sitting here like this has to be curve fitted and the results in the future aren't going to be good is that it ends up being basically the close. If it, like when it was 11 o'clock, that's why I did this. That's why I did this, because he said it was 11 o'clock. 11:01, it did a lot better, and I'm like, well, that kind of suggests that there's curve fitting here. So let's go in and find the time period that's the best. And then I was going to come in and I was going to do like a forward test sort of a thing, where it was like, see, look, like it says to do this time, but then it changes, right? But then when I did the optimization over the 5 years, it comes out to be at the close. And then I'm weirded out. Well, one thing, let's go back a little bit here. Sorry, which one is it? This one right here. R factor 10, 56, 473, NQ. Okay. I have it going back to 2018, but like, can I go all the way back to 2008, perhaps? Have you ever traded in? No, I have not. I'm interested. You know what? There's a lot more of my audience is Indian than I would expect. So I wish I knew more about the Indian markets, but, it's impossible to find that information in English. They have a whole completely different ecosystem. I just saw a trailer for an upcoming movie about upcoming movie about Pop-Tarts and lost my faith in humanity. My goodness, man. Yeah, actually, you know what? I can totally see that doing really well. Everybody loves Pop-Tarts. They're awful for you, but... Can you explain everything? Well, maybe not everything. Okay, so when I increased the time frame, the start date, to go back to 2008, the Sharpe ratio is not as good, but it's still above 0.5. It's still above 0.5. You're still getting a super high probability on the reversal trades. You're still, man. We're so devoid of creativity. We're just making movies about the products we consume. Yeah. Totally it. Well, but I'll tell you, it's the human bias that you have here, and you can totally take advantage of it, right? Is that people like things that are familiar. There's a push and pull between familiarity and novelty. And you want something that is familiar, but just different enough so that you get that maximum dose of serotonin and dopamine at the same time. And that's what people like. So for instance, what kind of this, and this is where I'm going to ruin things for you here. You don't want life to be ruined for you. Maybe shut the stream off. We're going to be ending here in 5 minutes anyways, okay? The music that you like is mostly a factor of what you have been exposed to. My kids, I play techno music. They hear techno music. When Asher and Ethan are grown up, they will still enjoy techno music. Because that's what they're exposed to. Why doesn't that work on me? Well, because you have the internet and started, stopped listening to pop. But I never listen to pop music, but I don't hate pop music. I tolerate it. It's okay. I can sing to a Katy Perry song. It's, everybody can, because we're all exposed to it. Right. This is the way that it works, right? You think that this is what you think how it works is there's an artist and they put a song out and then everybody says, oh, that's a really good song. And so then it becomes popular on the radio. And then that's the song that we all listen to and care about. Okay. That's not how it works. How it actually works is they make a song and the song is created by like 6 different people that are all the best songwriters and the best singer and the best producer and all that. Right. And then Sony comes in and says, oh, I really like this song. This is going to be our big song this year. And then he pays the radio station to play that song every 15 minutes. And you hear that song so often, and it becomes the popular song. Taste is largely a function of exposure. And this is true for most tastes that you have. Because explain to me, why do Mexicans like mariachi bands? Because I can't stand that stuff. I don't get it at all. But you go and you talk to Mexicans, and they'll talk about it. Oh man, I really love it. You should listen to this one song. The tuba bass line in it is so sick. They say stuff like that. These people, they love that music. Why is it? Because that's what they grew up with, man. That's what they're exposed to. Like your likes are largely a matter of exposure, right? And what we are finding is that these things extend even to like your politics and between mediums and so forth, right? So who are people most likely to vote for? The person that they are the most familiar with. Most people have heard of Donald Trump. He was a household name before he ever ran for president and became a big political figure and all this and that. And that's why he won. The name recognition is the primary factor. This is why incumbents have such a huge advantage. Everybody already knows the incumbent and they know their name, and so they're the one that they're most likely to watch. It's the same with movies. If you've watched a movie before and you liked it, then you're likely to like number 2 and 3, 4, 5, or all of the Marvel movies or whatever. That's why Hollywood is constantly trying to turn everything into a franchise. It's just the familiarity of it. So, taking what is one of the most successful and popular food things in the United States and turning it into a movie, I bet you that will do well. I bet you that it will probably be an absolutely terrible movie and it will still bring in a decent amount of sales. Let's hope that it doesn't do too well, because then Hollywood will go ham on, right? Next thing you know, it'll be the Lucky Charms movie and all, you know. My mom listened to Rod Stewart and Gloria Estefan cleaning the house on weekends when I was a kid, not jazz. Oh, well, you listen to jazz? I mean, one of the things is that, you know, first of all, there are some of us that are wired a little bit differently, right? But usually what it is, let me tell you what, I have never met somebody where they discovered their favorite type of music when they were 30 years old. It doesn't happen, right? It happens when you're a teen. It happens between the ages of 14 and 24. That 10-year time period. Now, maybe during that 10-year time period, you discover a new form of music and you get such a huge dopamine boost when you hear that music at the beginning, then you start listening to it, right? But the thing that really drives the love of it and really turns into the I want to listen to this every day sort of a thing is the familiarity of it. But it's that between 14 and 24, that's when you are like peak dopamine. Your brain produces more dopamine during that time, and it's doing that as a survival strategy to find an edge, essentially, right? You're going to try new things, and then, you know, that gives you the chance of finding a trade that's not as common, that's not oversaturated, essentially, right? That's what function that serves. That's why teenagers, they have this tendency to want to leave the house, to not listen to their parents, to hate their parents' music. But then they will just pick up whatever the popular culture music is at that time. And it's the same thing with food, man. People are like, I don't understand how anybody could like dark chocolate. Well, I tell you, if you come in and you eat dark chocolate every day for a month, and I guarantee you by the end of that month that you will love dark chocolate. I guarantee it. It's exposure. So now that I've ruined life for you. Man. This strategy's still messing with me, man. But it's time for me to go. Okay, we have to pick a name that really throws people off so that nobody ever watches this video, right? There is nothing at all interesting in this video whatsoever. There is nothing interesting in this live stream whatsoever. Don't watch. Don't watch it. Morgan, yes, please. Right. Oh, I can't say don't watch it. That's too many characters. There we go. Hopefully, if I say there's nothing interesting in this live stream, that then people will not watch it. Oh, yeah, I hope not. Yeah. I don't think it will make a difference. Anyways, there is a degree of curve fitting to this, right? I doubt. It looks like it's still profitable, but I doubt that if we started trading this for the next year that we would still get such a high Sharpe ratio. One last thing we can do before I go. Monte Carlo it. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Max drawdown. Well, it says that you could have a max drawdown as much as 8,000. But that's what we got. That's interesting. So the results that we got are actually like one of the worst case scenarios with this. That's interesting. That's really interesting. Right? The worst case scenario is, oh no, the worst case scenario you got pretty low ones. It's actually kind of suggesting that the Sharpe ratio that we got was unusually good. Make it rain Lambos with this easy strat? Yeah, you probably could. I mean, well, I don't know. It's saying that like over 10 years you make $200,000, but you size it up, you could make a few million with it. But you know, I think there's a limit to it. Like I kind of wonder once you start getting over 10 contracts if it doesn't start to mess with you. But I guess we'll find out because you guys all want to trade it. So I will start forward testing it. Let's forward test it for like a month. See how it goes. I'll make sure that like one of the big things is I want to make sure that when it's running live that it actually does what the backtest says that it will. It should. This is pretty simple, but you never know. Okay, guys, I gotta get going. I gotta get going. Oh, how many people do we have watching us on X right now, by the way? Last thing before I leave here. Twitter.com live. Oh no, it doesn't show me live on X. Where is it? No, I don't know how to pull it up now. Oh well, whatever. If you're on Twitter, thank you for stopping by. Oh no, I have 6 views. All right, well, thank you guys very much. I will be here tomorrow, even though the market will be closed, so we can like back test and mess around with stuff. Okay. In the meantime, stay excellent.